Hey Libra, how's it going? I'm going to do a financial tarot reading for you for the month of February, where we're going to be seeing what you're going to be doing in the month of February in regards to, your finances, your employment, career. For those of you looking for work, we'll talk about that. We're going to break down a bunch of the different areas like contracts, negotiations. We'll see what comes out in the reading using the Gustave Doré deck. This is a deck that's based off of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, so it is going to be interpreted in the traditional way. Let's get two more cards here. Oh, this is interesting. We have the Lover's card come out in a financial reading. I like that it's in the upright position. We're going to talk about the history of the Lover's card when it's not about love and romance, but instead it's about joining yourself together in a way that's very balanced. For some of you, it could involve love, but let's get into it because we have some interesting dynamics. We actually almost the entire reading is major arcana cards: the Lover's card, the Strength card, the Hermit card, the Hierophant card, and then the Three of Wands in the reversal position for the only one card that is not in the major arcana. That is the only minor arcana card, and it is in the reversal. Ooh, Three of Wands is actually really interesting, though, in the reversal position. Right, because the Three of Wands is a card of merchant. It is known as the Little Merchant. We'll talk about that one first. Let's get this one out of the way here. The Three of Wands. I love telling the history of the Three of Wands by discussing the Two of Wands, which you may have seen me do in many different tarot readings, or if you've ever had a private reading from me. The Three of Wands, or rather the Two of Wands, is a card historically over 100 years ago that Arthur Edward Waite spoke of as if it was a depiction of Alexander the Great. That Alexander, the Emperor Alexander, the one who went on to conquer big time, right? The idea in the Two of Wands is that he looked over the entire world in that image. He's holding the world in his hand. If you've ever seen the traditional Two of Wands, it's a man holding the whole world, right? Again, it's the understanding of the likeness of Alexander the Great, deciding, do I stay where I am or do I go forward to conquer? That is when we look at your life, essentially, and we see in that same sentiment, are you ready to go forward and conquer what it is that you truly desire in your heart? Like, you can say to yourself, I want this money, I want this house, I want this goal, I want this education. And wanting is one thing, but do you have the capability to go forward to get what it is that you want? Are you in that state of your being? Are you ready? By the time we get into the Three of Wands, which is the next card up and the card we have here, the idea is that that character of Alexander the Great he's done his first step. He's deciding whether he wants to go forward, but in the Three of Wands, he sees how to do the plan. In the traditional tarot, so again, this is the Gustave Doré deck, but on the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck, the gentleman is now looking at three ships that are out on the sea in front of him. Those three ships, if you understand what ships were historically, those ships had the gold, which is akin to saying it's a metaphor of your goal. The gold is your goal, right? Those ships in history were ships of commerce. They were the trade route ships. And so the Three of Wands, because of the fact that those ships were connected so much to the trade routes and transactional energies, this card became known as the Little Merchant. Sorry. Yeah, it is. It's the card of the Little Merchant. The Six of Pentacles is the card of the Big Merchant. Card of the Little Merchant, here the Three of Wands, means in this coming February, you might very well find yourself having a mercantile kind of energy, personality to you, a drive to you. So what could that look like for some of you? It could look like some of you have decided, if you're doing, say, job searches, you might choose and opt for something that's more customer service or clientele based. If you are working in an industry that's, say, sales representative-ish. It's something like that. It might be setting yourself up for that kind of vibe. Transactions. But again, the Three of Wands card in the upright and in the reversal, but a lot of that energy in the upright position is about the path, seeing the path, not yet being there, not yet being at that moment where a maximum amount of money comes in, but that you can see the path for how to get the money. The path reveals itself. What I also like is the Three of Wands requires you to be in your personal power, and you have the Strength card right next to it. So this for you is a very powerful time, especially with the Lovers right next to it, for you to come together with your path. It's very much it's kind of like your purpose. When everyone is always searching for their purpose, their path, their career, that one thing that they want to be. You know, some people want to be a teacher, some people want to be a director, some people want to be an actor, whatever it is that you want to be. This energy here talks about building up your personal power to actually get you to the thing that you want to do, to your purpose. And let's be real, Libra, Saturn is in your house of transactions and business relationships for the next 2 years. The likelihood of you coming out of the next 2 years with your purpose is very high. That is the thing that's happening with Libras right now. Saturn is in Aries. Aries is your 7th house, right? Now, let's talk about that Lovers card for a little bit here, because the Hierophant and the Lovers card have a connection to one another. The Hermit card also has a connection to those two. But the Lovers card, we'll start off by reminding ourselves that this is the card of the Adam and Eve story about being in the Garden of Eden and then being cast out to exile. Being cast out to this world where there's emptiness and nothingness. In the Catholic modern perspective, the only thing is that Arthur Edward Waite, when he created this tarot deck, he specifically said that this card was not about the Catholic modern perspective. Most people look at this card, and just because it says Adam and Eve, they think, oh, modern Christianity. Arthur Edward Waite described the Lovers card through the lens of Christian mysticism, like the Albigensians. His words, not mine. He specified the understanding that he believed there was a possibility that the tarot deck was a secret symbolic language coming from a group of people who were persecuted by the Roman Catholic Church. So the Lovers card doesn't end up being a story about modern Christianity the way that we keep reading it in our modern Bibles. It's a story that predates a lot of what we have now in futurist, dispensationalist kind of Christianity. If you know what that is, really cool, good for you, amazing. If not, don't worry about it. That is to say that the old traditional Christian mysticism way of looking at the Garden of Eden was that we were supposed to fall from the Garden of Eden. We were supposed to get out of there. It was not a place that we were supposed to be. Albigensians were Gnostic Christians, essentially, with their traditions in history around the 1200 AD mark. During the Great Crusades, their stories came from people like the Bogomils. If you know who those are, really cool again. I might get into a history lesson later on about it. Or you can always ask me because I love chatting about that kind of thing. It's safe enough to say whether you know who the Bogomils are or the Gnostics are or the Valentinians or the Sethians, any of these groups of early Christians, you can paint them all into one category pretty much. And it's a pretty telling category. It's the category of they believe the God of the Old Testament was not the right God. Yeah, that category. So looking at the Lovers card through that lens, the way that Arthur Edward Waite spoke about this being a secret symbolic language, then the Lovers card, that Garden of Eden was never a place we were supposed to stay in. We were being called out of that garden to go to the place or the purpose that we were meant to be going to. So now when you look at the Lovers card, it's not about being cast out of a garden. It's not about, oh, you woman who ate the apple, you've done a bad thing. Oh, you're terrible at your job. Oh, you didn't do this correctly. You disobeyed. That's the story that gets a view of modern Catholicism with the Garden of Eden. It's a very patriarchal kind of energy, forgetting the fact that ancient and Christian mystics didn't believe that at all. But instead, that we were uniting with our proper purpose. So we take that historical lesson from the macrocosm and we put it into the microcosm of your life. And what does that mean? How do we bring that into your financial reading? Well, it's all about the path, right? It's all about the path. Like I said, it's not about this reading doesn't talk a lot about you making super amounts of money in the month of February. But what it talks about is this strength all of a sudden that you end up having to get shit done, and it opens up a path for you. But it's not just any path. It's not any regular or accidental path. The word Arthur Edward Waite used to describe the Lovers card was predetermined path, predestination. I'm talking destiny, fate, and karma here. Like your fated purpose, your fated path, That is the energy and the meaning of the Lover's card. When we're in a romance reading, that's why it's a soulmate energy, because it's somebody you're destined to be with. But when we're in a financial reading, it means that your destined path is actually coming around the corner. You might not realize it yet. Speaking of destined path, cue the Hermit card. Even in modern tarot, this has got the understanding that this is a person who goes on the spiritual path, does it not? That's one way. Like, you could look at modern tarot and what YouTubers will talk about. And hey, I'm a YouTuber. Don't knock it till you try it. Okay. But historically, a lot of the cards don't tend to match up with the older history of a card. There's a lot of tarot readers online who kind of make a card into something that it's not. But the Hermit is one of those cards that has remained the same, whether we're talking about historical understandings or modern intuitive understandings. The Hermit is the one who goes on the spiritual path, and in traditional tarot, he is holding a lantern in his hand. It's very, very Diogenes coded. Diogenes, the hermit-like character from ancient Greece cities. He used to live in a vase in the middle of a city. He would go around. He's the father of cynicism in history, and Diogenes, he held a lantern that he would walk around with. And when people would ask him what was in the lantern, he would say, I was in search of an honest man, a good man. I want the right path, right? So the Hermit card here in this card, he's holding the lantern also. But inside of his lantern on the traditional tarot, he has a star. It's the star that's inside of the Star card, which in tarot, if you've ever seen the Star card before, it's the card of navigating to your wish. It's a card of wish fulfillment. So the Hermit is here saying that if you have a wish in you, your wish is going to be fulfilled. Okay? That desire that you have, it's being predetermined inside of you. If you think your desire is just coming from you, this is the desire that you have to be that thing, to try that new path, to be educated, or to be a doctor, or to be an actor, whatever it is that's that desire into you, to make that phone call, to hand out that resume on that day. That desire is being put in you by the universe. You are co-creating with the universe. A lot of manifestation goodies coming in from old Christian traditions that the church tried to wipe away. A lot of ancient Christian mysticism tied in really well with paganism. It's no wonder why the Catholic Church tried to eliminate that format of Judeo-Christianity. Anyways, just throwing out the fun facts here, but I'm laying down the architecture, you could say, the blueprint of this reading here with the concept of finances. Again, there is some kind of a path that's opening up for you in the month of February, but before you walk the path, because the Three of Wands is usually the planning phase, a part of the planning that you're doing in the month of February is to build your strength and your confidence up. And actually, Libras, just like you guys are heavy in dealing with business and relationships for the next 2 years because Saturn is in Aries, right? I mean, especially for Libra risings and things like that. You guys also have confidence houses that are being lit up. So again, I'm not surprised if you guys get a confidence boost over the next little bit that helps and pushes you and motivates you to getting shit done, to getting to the finances that you want. I want to mention also, when it comes to like this is a lot about the path. So this will be a lot for career paths, education paths. But this is also for those of you, if you're trying to move to a location, there's that kind of path. If you're trying to do some travel, these paths that you're trying to get pulled towards, or the desire is inside of you and it's leading you to, those are supposed to be experiences that you have. So if you're thinking about traveling, again, the Lover's card is about uniting into a path you were always supposed to go to. If there's this city that you think you want to move to and you keep getting called towards it, that's likely the energy of this calling, this path, trying to get you to your purpose, trying to get you to your desire. It's manifestation energy. Let's talk about the last one here, the Hierophant. This one's an important one because this is a part of the strategy behind what you're going to have to do. The Hierophant is, in a modern sense, it's the card of commitment, because it's a priest and priests marry people together. But historically, it was actually something you didn't want to commit to if it was too rigid. See, that's what I mean about modern tarot versus historical tarot. Modern tarot is like, yes, marriage, happy card, popes, priests, unity. ancient history was like, tear the Pope down. Remember, if it's a secret symbolic language connected to Christian mysticism, like the Albigensians, they didn't like the Roman Catholic Church. So this was a depiction of rigid dogmatic systems that were supposed to fall away. You weren't supposed to commit to something like this with the Hierophant. What you were supposed to do to attain, in this case, your finances, what you're supposed to do is you are supposed to become so open-minded that you are willing to try all avenues in order to get what you want, so that you're not sitting in a rigid dogmatic system. Some examples of this are going to be, if you want to, say, have a house, like you want to, deal with a mortgage, don't just try one rigid dogmatic system of like saying to yourself, I'm going to try one mortgage company. Try 7 of them. Don't just try 1 or 2. Try 8 of them. Don't just ask 1 or 2 people. Talk to family. Talk to friends. Become so out of the box that one of those paths is the correct one. But if you stay in a limited perspective and you only try 1 or 2 things, if you get afraid of failure, then that's the thing you're going to manifest and generate. It's only a limited box experience. If you're trying to do travel, don't just try 1 or 2 things. Try, searching up a different website, searching up the things on a different airline. Maybe step 3, you look for a loan. Maybe step 4, you do Uplift, or you do like a pay-as-you-go kind of thing, like FlexPay, right? So again, the idea is if you're going to strategize the path, it's almost as if it's saying that the path is not going to be a normal one. Rigid and dogmatic systems and closed-minded thinking are going to have to be pushed to the side. And what you will then do, if you're building strength and confidence in your own personal power, in this month of February, it looks like you're going to be learning how to be okay with like things that feel like they don't fit with you falling away, and not calling it failure. If something doesn't work out, not sitting there and saying, oh, it didn't work, but instead reframing it and saying, oh, this didn't work because I'm supposed to go this other out of the box way. Handing out resumes to a receptionist, if it doesn't work and you're like, oh, maybe I should try out of the box, handing it over to that company that wanted a, commercial driver. This is the point. This is what's happening for you. Your finances are going to be dependent on coming out of the box and reframing negativities. If you get a contract that comes out or paperwork that you're signing and it doesn't pan out, I want you to reframe the thought and say to yourself, oh, this wasn't supposed to happen at this point. There's another path that's opening up. And then you keep walking that path and you'll end up landing on the one that's meant for you. Remember what comes after the 3 of Wands here. I'll leave you off with this. After the 3 of Wands is the card of you getting the gold. That's the point. This isn't there's no devil card in this. There's no heartbreak card. Have you noticed we haven't talked about a single thing so far that's about you losing money? That's because this is a reading saying that in the future, after February, you're going to be coming into your finances. But February is the planning stage. And if there's anything that falls off, you're going to need to be okay with it as it falls off, because it's going to open up the door to the better opportunity. It opens you up with strength to get your wish fulfillment in your own personal power, by going the other way, by going the other route, by going outside of the box. And most importantly, going to the 4 of Wands, which is the card of great harvest. That gold is so good with the 4 of Wands. The finances are so good that by the time you get to the 5 of Wands, people are jealous. So take this as motivation and confidence building time. That's what's going on with your financial reading here. This is strategic acceptance. This is what this is about. Taking away rigid systems and saying, if something doesn't work out right now, it doesn't mean it's not supposed to. It means there's an alternative route that you're supposed to be taking, a better route. I'm going to leave you guys off with that. I'm going to head over to TikTok and I'm going to do a financial reading for you guys over there. But I'm going to break down the month of February into every single week and see which of those weeks might have a little bit more money, or which week's communication comes in and things like that. This is your overall energy for that month of February, but yeah, we'll get a little more specific in that reading over there on TikTok. So I will talk to you guys later. Thank you very much, and ciao for now.